All right, let's go ahead and open up the doors to Daily with Doc. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We have had a couple days where you had the day off with Daily with Doc, but Doc, we have been doing some amazing things, lots of traveling, talking to lots of people, shaking hands, hugging, and enjoying the freedoms that we have here on Earth, inside of the United States, inside of even California. So I am so excited to be back. I know we've got Doc, who is excited as well to be back to share information that we have coming, we're working on. So Doc, don't give away everything too soon.
Okay.
I do want to remind everybody that the content of this program is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician. Our products are not diagnosed to treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. But folks, when you give the body what it needs, it can do some amazing things. Now, the FDA does require us to let you know this. So if you have any type of health conditions, and before starting a quality supplementation program, make sure that you are working with your primary care physician. Now, here we have in our Zoom room the opportunity to raise your hand and ask questions. And for those of you who are out on Facebook and YouTube and Rumble and all the other places that we're working on getting there as well, welcome to Daily with Doc. If you would like to join us live, go to dailywithDocZoom.com Monday through Friday from 12 to 12:50 p.m. Pacific time, where we host Dr. Joel Wallach in our programs, giving empowering information, folks. There's so many things going on in this world that is trying to take the power away from you and being able to make choices about your own self, your own environment. Well, this program is designed to help give a light into things that you can do on your own as an empowered individual, maintaining or retaining or taking back, maintaining. Let's see. I've got maintain and retain, and are those the only tains, Dr. Wallach?
What?
Okay, let's talk tangy tangerine. How about that?
Okay.
So, Dr. Wallach, and for those of you who do not know this man, he started out as a child with some behavioral issues, some physical things going on that they couldn't figure out. But he himself, being the observant young man that he was, saw, hey, the animals on our farm are not experiencing the same things I'm doing. What are they eating? I want to eat what they eat. Well, I know when I followed his recommendations, I had some amazing changes in my life. And that's why I do this program in hosting Dr. Joel Wallach each and every weekday, so that you also can hear a message that is impactful, that we can't guarantee, we can't make claims, but folks, the good Lord above did not design junk. But when we put junk in, how can we expect to have a body that is not in decline? So let's look to what Dr. Wallach has for us today in being able to provide quality things going in our mouths so that we can get quality results coming out through our body and our physical non-limitations. But Dr. Wallach, I do want to mention, for those of you who are in the Zoom with us, if you have questions and you would like to ask Dr. Wallach your questions, make sure that you raise your hand early. If you wait until we're quarter till the hour, we most likely will not get to your hands. So please raise your hand early if you would like to ask Dr. Wallach a question. I do want to thank my co-hosts for being here with me, Ruth Ellen Sanchez, Sherry Browning, Marilyn Pizzera, and out in YouTube land, we have AJ as he is helping with questions there as well. So we have questions already coming in from YouTube, Dr. Wallach, questions already coming in from are here on, where are we at? Zoom. So let's get started.
Okay, well, thank you for the kind introduction, and thank you for the great week we had last week. I think we were there 5 days, 4 or 5 days, whatever it was. And basically, George Noory he's what can I say? He's a great American. He's a hero in my book because he brings truth and life and all kinds of information that makes the quality of life better in his annual event, Contact in the Desert. And of course, we had a booth there. We were speaking, and I apologize, we don't have a recording of our presentation there because they were having equipment problems. But we do have recordings of the presentation before we got there, okay? And of course, the event took place in Desert Hot Springs, Contact in the Desert. And we're going to be on tomorrow night, Tuesday night, okay? I think it's June 6th at 10 p.m. Pacific time to 12 p.m. It's a 2-hour event, coast to coast. And I'm going to be, I guess I get on there every 5 or 6 weeks. And in between my visits, we have pharmacist Ben Fuchs who gets on, and he does a fabulous job of answering questions and educating the public. And so I just look forward to seeing and hearing from you in a day, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, June 6th, 10 p.m. Pacific time till midnight, okay? This will be a great thing. It's essentially be the presentation that we gave on the Contact in the Desert. So you haven't missed anything if you tune in to us tomorrow night. Now, the thing that we talked about, of course, is health and longevity. And this is not a secret. This goes back more than 3,000 years ago, okay, to the Old Testament. And most of you have heard of the Old Testament, you've heard of the New Testament and so on. And in the Old Testament, there was very valuable health information. It talked about people who were marching around the world, prophets and so forth. Adam lived to be 930, Noah lived to be 950, Methuselah lived to be 969, and there were many prophets who lived to be 800, 700, 600, 500, and they all came from lands flowing with milk and honey. That was, quoted in the Bible. And when you look at that, okay, say, what does it mean, lands flowing with milk? Cows milk, goats milk, llama milk, whale milk? I mean, what were they talking about? So I did on that. These people came from the glaciers, and the glaciers were grinding up the rocks. The streams, instead of looking like cream water, okay, they look milky or gray because of the rock dust, the rock silt suspended in that water coming down the mountain, and they referred to it as milk. Well, in modern times here, we call it glacial milk. And the glacial milk, of course, has the same minerals in it had 3,000 years ago. And so we did a lot of research, and we actually went into big universities where they had engineering schools and all kinds of equipment. And we analyzed, we had this glacial milk from these different places analyzed. Now you have to appreciate that the story of these long-lived peoples in the Old Testament living long lives, it was presented in the Old Testament 21 times. That's how important it was. You cannot deny anything that's said in the Bible. Okay? 21 times they talk about the land flowing with milk and honey. So we looked it up. And sure enough, all of these glacial milks are loaded with minerals. Some only have 5, because that's what's in the mountains. Some have 10 or 12, that's what's in the mountains. Some have 15 or 20, that's what's in the mountains. Some have 50, some have 75. And those are the ones, we took 6 months. When we started our company, we took 6 months. We went around and we found and located 8 different sources of those glacial milks that had more 75 or more minerals in it. And that's what makes us different. We're not just grinding up limestone and having 8 minerals in there. We have a minimum of 75 minerals in our programs. And so what can you expect from using the products we have with glacial milk in there? Let's just look. In the Old Testament, they're looking at Adam again, 930. let's see here. Seth lived to be 912. Enos lived to be 905. Canaan lived to be 910. Mikhail lived to be 895. Jared lived to be 962. Methuselah lived to be 969. Lamech lived to be 777. Noah lived to be 950. After the flood, it dropped considerably. Okay, why? Because the stream flows were in different directions, and they weren't picking up all those minerals again. So after the flood, Shem lived to be 600. Let's see, Arphaxad lived to be 436. Selah lived to be 433. Eber lived to be 464. Peleg lived to be 239. Ru lived to be 239. Serug lived to be 230. Nahor lived to be 148. Terah lived to be 205. Abram lived to be 175. Isaac lived to be 180. And Jacob lived to be 147. Now the Hunzas today in modern times, they live to be, the Hunzas live to be what? 120. That's their life expectancy is 120. That's because they live in a land flowing with milk and honey. Chapter 10 in my book, chapter 10 of my book, it's called Rare Earths and Cures. And the whole thing is about minerals and how minerals help you. But the chapter is entitled Glacial Milk. We actually looked and we have actual analyses by universities, not me, but by universities all over the world, telling us how many and how much of each of these minerals are in the glacial milks. And it's really, really quite cool, to get this information and know that this was presented in the Old Testament 21 times over 3,000 years ago. And so this is unimpeachable evidence that these minerals can support good health, long life. And of course, we have story after story after story. And one of the stories I'm going to tell today is about a wonderful pastor in on the East Coast, up in the
Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, there you go.
That
Baltimore, thank you. Baltimore, Maryland. And Pastor Mike Freeman, he went into a coma. He was in a coma for 6 weeks, and the doctors, and he's in a hospital, of course, and the doctors contacted him and say, look, he's only got hours or days at best to live, so you better come say your goodbyes. He may not be able to hear you. He's been still in this coma. And one of our great associates, Linda Tyler from Baltimore, Maryland, she contacted me and said, is there anything we can do for him? I said, well, does he have a G tube so we can put stuff in there? No. Does he have an IV? We can put stuff in there? No. She said, well, just take our plant minerals. It has 75 minerals in there. Just take our plant minerals with 75 minerals and rub a third to a half of a teascup 3 times on his front, on his sternum, on his upper belly and lower belly. 3 times a day. Do the same thing on his back, between his shoulder blades, his upper back and lower back. And let's see if we can get him to absorb some of these minerals through his skin. Well, 3 days later, this guy who was supposed to have died 2 days earlier wakes up. He goes to his church. He's a pastor, Pastor Mike Freeman, very famous pastor today. He's all over the world. We just love and respect him. And he went to his church and went to his TV studios and his radio studios and told his story over and over and over for 12 hours. And thank the Lord, he actually, recorded it. He recorded it, And so we made a great tool out of this that everybody has access to. Praise the Lord and Pass the 90. It's a DVD, with Pastor Mike Freeman and myself, And it's how to maximize your prayers employing God's 90. You cannot defeat God. Well, let me tell you. On the back here, of course, it has a little story about Pastor Mike Freeman, a little bit of story about myself. And we're so proud of this because this goes around the world every day. This is very, very famous. And it's an unimpeachable story because it was documented by the doctors in the hospital, it was documented by the church, and documented by the newspapers, and documented by TV and radio. And so this is an unimpeachable story. Praise the Lord and pass the 90. If you're in the military, you know what that means. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. You want God on your side. You want to be on God's side. But if somebody's shooting at you, in addition to prayer, you want to have some bullets to fire back at them. Well, this is what our nutrition is. This is our ammunition to give our body what it needs to defend itself Okay. So in addition to prayer, you take your 90 essential nutrients and you're going to give your body what it needs because we have the mechanism. You just need the raw materials. So with that said, I'm going to pass this back over to Rebecca and see if you want me to say something else about something else, or are we moving on? Oh, cannot hear you.
Thank you.
There you
Can you
go.
hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
So folks, thanks for bearing with us as we had this big event. I had to take some of my equipment with me, so making sure now that everything's plugged in correctly and just the way it's supposed to be. I need an assistant. But Dr. Wallach, you said a lot of things. I mean, Pastor Freeman's story is incredible. We have so many stories that are personal events, personal experience with following Dr. Wallach's recommendations. Now, we can't say that our products diagnose, prevent, cure anything, as I said before, but we have individuals that have listened to the man that we have here on this show Monday through Friday and have experienced amazing results. And you can hear Dr. Wallach is holding up the Wallach Revolution, where you can read about a dozen or more different instances where they followed Dr. Wallach's recommendations and got great results. Results great enough that they wanted to put it in print to help others so that they also might be able to relate to their story and say, you know what? I've tried everything. Let me try one more thing. And that's following Dr. Wallach's recommendations. Now, Dr. Wallach is holding up It's All in Your Head. So I have that book too,
Who
Doc.
wrote the forward? Becca, who wrote the forward to that book?
It's All in Your Head?
Yeah. Me.
Well, I don't know about It's All in Your Head. I don't see a forward here, but I know in the Wallach Revolution, we have a famous singer by the name of Pat Boone that wrote the forward.
Yeah.
And then the afterward, I loved that.
The last chapter.
The last chapter was written by an actor, Danny Glover.
Yeah.
So it's everyday people. It's people that are on the big screen, people that are heard through radio.
Champion athletes,
absolutely, that are taking the chance on following Dr. Wallach's recommendations, because what can you lose? Absolutely nothing. You give the body some quality nutrition that's absorbable at the cellular level. There's no other way to go but in a positive direction. So, Dr. Wallach, I think that it's absolutely amazing. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it's as predictable as gravity. It's predictable. I always tell people this is predictable as gravity. Now, you have to appreciate that. Remember, I have a degree in agriculture and read a lot of scientific literature on nutrients and what they do for plants and what they do for people, what they do for animals. And then I became a veterinarian, and I had contact and access to all this information to help plants and help animals and help people. And then became a pathologist and learned how to deal with these nutrients that actually would help support and promote health and longevity in plants and animals and people. And so we have kind of a unique background. We're going to give all the credit to the good Lord, obviously, but this is unimpeachable evidence. There's people who would say, well, yeah, well, this has all been published. And when I say all this literature I have here telling what's going on with this glacial milk, yes, it was talked about 21 times in the old Bible 3,000 years ago. But now we have all these engineering departments and universities that have done analyses of the glacial milk. So we know what the glacial milk is made out of. The glacial milk isn't just white water, okay? It's made out of varying minerals, depending on where that glacial milk came from, depending on the minerals that were in the mountains that they originated in. And that's why you have places where people who drank the glacial milk and they live a long time. You have people who drank glacial milk and they lived, just beyond what you would expect for a human being. That's because they had certain minerals in there. And then you have other people who drank glacial milk and they didn't get much going on because they got the glacial milk that only had 3 minerals in it. Glacial milk is not identical from all these different locations. Each of them have a very specific individual fingerprint based on the nutrients that are in there. Okay. And so we picked the ones that have the longest running health information for longevity as well as health and preventing and reversing diseases. Now, people say, well, you're kind of sticking your neck out there. Well, that's okay. If you want to go after me, come on, because you will lose. Okay, I've been through this a lot, and I spent a lot. I retired lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, so I know how to handle a battle. And so it's one of those things where, please just read this material, listen to this material, look at this material, give us a try. And the worst that can happen is nothing. Okay, the worst that can happen is nothing. Now, you do have to do some changes because you have to be able to absorb. Becca, what foods do you have to avoid to maximize absorption of nutrients?
Wheat, barley, rye, and oats, including buckwheat.
And buckwheat, yeah. Now, come on. Now, people have been eating that forever. Well, you have to remember that forever, 300, 500 years ago, the average lifespan, the average life expectancy of people from what is now Europe and the United States was 37. It's only 37 years old was the life expectancy. And then along came the slave days and the old plantation days, and Uncle Remus, okay, and Uncle Tom lived to be 90, 100, 110, 120, and the plantation owners died at 37 or 50 or 60. What's going on there? Well, that's because these slaves ate the bones, ate the livers and the lungs, and ate the skin and all that kind of stuff, and ate the kidneys. And the plantation owners, they wanted to be like Europeans, and they ate only steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, so that was a problem. They were getting a very, very bad, deficient diet. And of course, the slaves were also using wood ashes as their condiments because they couldn't afford the expensive things you'd buy, from Europe, seasoning and so forth. And also they were using wood ashes because they couldn't afford to buy salt. So they used wood ashes on their food, and wood ashes were their source of minerals. Now, do we have a wide use of wood ashes in America today in our food? No, we have electricity. How many minerals are produced by electricity? None. Okay, yeah, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and so the thing you have to understand is what should I say? Plants only need 3 nutrients: NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. We need 16 minerals alone, just 16 minerals. Do nutritional minerals occur in uniform blanket around the crosshairs? No. You can be eating the same recipe that your twin brother, twin sisters are eating, and they're 3 states away. They don't have any health problems. They're doing good, and you're the twin, and you're seeing 5 doctors because you have 15 different diseases, and you're on 40 different prescription medications. They say you have a bad gene. What about your identical twin? How come they don't have a problem? Because they live in a place where they're buying groceries that maybe have 50 minerals in the soil because it floods every year because they had bottomland, which was the land flowing with milk and honey. That's what we called the land flowing with milk and honey in the United States. In modern time, called it bottomland. It'd flood every spring. When the water would dissipate, they'd plow in those minerals, and then they'd eat the food grown there. Okay, and so our bottomland stories are kind of what was going on 3,000 years ago with the land flowing with milk and honey days. Okay, they're a parallel. So over to you.
All right, Dr. Wallach, thank you so much. And one thing that I noticed, Dr., at this event that we were at, one, we cannot forget, yesterday was your birthday.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to just do a quick little happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, Dr. Wallach, happy birthday to you. And so many people stopped by the booth to wish you happy birthday.
Oh yeah, and they were emailing from all over the world.
And well, your phone was nonstop ringing, and people were just stopping by, thanking you in addition, even the ones that didn't know it was your birthday, thanking you for all that you have done. I remember this one story where they had found a Dead Doctors Don't Lie tape on the ground at a garage sale 15 years ago. And they picked it up and the person said, oh, just keep it. And they had been hearing you for 15 years, but had never tried the products. And we were able to get them on a protocol to help them in achieving some of their health goals, Dr. Wallach. It's incredible. Your message is still in that original cassette going around the world and being used. So we've got your message on cassette for those of you who still use cassettes.
9 languages. It's a cassettes in 9 languages.
And then the CD also in 9 languages, which I think is absolutely fabulous. And we're working on getting digital downloads for those also, for those who do not have cassette players or CD players, and just do the whole digital thing and be able to listen to it on your phone with just the tap of an icon on the app. So,
and we're working on another tool here. We're working on a flip, what is it, a flip chart or a flip book, or what is it called?
So it would be a flip chart presentation, Dr. Wallach.
Okay. So we're working on that, and we'll have that available here in a week or 10 days, I think. That's my goal.
That is your goal. And if we can get compliance to work with your goals, that would be fabulous. Because folks, we can't, Dr. Wallach can say things that we as independent distributors, not employees of Longevity, but independent business owners of our own who are promoting Dr. Wallach's message and the products. We do have to be very clear that our recommendations are based on Dr. Wallach's recommendations. We as individuals, especially for those of us who do not have a medical license or a license to practice medicine, need to make sure that we're not playing doctor. But we can use Dr. Wallach's recommendations and what he recommends for people, even if it's just starting with the foundation and letting them and their bodies have the opportunity to feel the difference. So one of those compliance things, Dr. Wallach,
It's
that
21
we
times
have
in the
to.
Old Testament. It's 21 times in the Old Testament. These long-lived peoples came from the land flowing with milk and honey. We actually have identified what it was in those lands flowing with milk and honey. Okay. It wasn't cow's milk. It wasn't camel milk. It wasn't goat's milk. It was glacial milk. We have it documented. Okay. Why did it take a dumb farm boy from Missouri to get that done? Oh, there's probably a lot of things you could say about that. Okay. But I actually just a couple of weeks ago discovered how many times the story of the land flowing with milk and honey was told in the Old Testament. I thought it was 2 or 3 times. It was 21 times. Okay, so who can deny the accumulation of knowledge that's in the Bible?
Yeah. There's a lot of history, Dr. Wallach, that people forget where that history is written. Well, we have people that have their hands up here with us in our Zoom. We have questions out on YouTube coming in and questions on Facebook. I wouldn't be able to see all these different places if it wasn't for my co-hosts and being able to share them here with me on another platform. So let's go ahead and get to some questions, Dr. Wallach. And let's first go to the first hand that's up here in the room with us, and that is Brett. So Brett, go ahead and unmute yourself. And welcome to Daily with Doc. Can you unmute yourself? Let's try again.
Yes, sir. How can we help you?
Okay, I just asked you to unmute again. Do you see that pop up in your screen? Do you see the icon with the microphone? Can you click on that icon with the microphone?
Okay, if he can't do that, let's go to the next one.
Okay, well, you figure that out and say Brett is showing up as, oh, you know what? How is that possible? I'm sorry, just a minute, Scott, just a minute. That's weird. I went to spotlight one person and somebody else came up. Sorry about that.
Sounds like the problems we were having contact in the desert.
Okay, now. Ruth Ellen, can you, oh shoot, Brett, can you get Brett, send him a request to unmute? I'm not seeing that on my end. Oh, there it is. Brett, go ahead and unmute.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
Hallelujah.
fantastic.
It wouldn't let me unmute. I kept trying. It said the host had it blocked.
That's my bad. My bad.
I can't get the camera to work. I don't know if you have the cameras blocked. I can't get the camera to turn on, but not a big deal. Hey, Dr. Wallach. Oh, here we go. Start my video. There we go. Hey, Dr. Wallach. I've been with you since AM radio way back, and I appreciate everything you do. Happy birthday. I'm 56 years old, 185 pounds, 5'11". I was having out of breath, getting out of breath. I went to the doctors and they did a ultrasound on my heart. They said it was only pumping at 40 to 45%. And they did a treadmill test, which was fine. Then they sent me for a CT scan of my heart and came back with just a tiny little dot of plaque in one artery. And they put me on a medication called metoprolol. Did I lose you, Doc?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay, I was seeing somebody else on the screen. He put me on metoprolol, and I'm worried about taking a beta blocker. I don't want to be on something. Is there something else I can do?
Yes, let's just stop there. Okay, well, first of all, your body needs things. Your body includes your heart. Okay, you cannot eat well enough to get everything you need for your body or your heart. Okay, why do you have plaque in your arteries? Doctors say, oh, it has to do with cholesterol. No, it has nothing to do with cholesterol. It has to do with how you cook your food. If you eat French fries, potatoes, if you eat fried chicken, fried fish, stir-fried veggies, you're going to get plaque in your arteries, because when you heat up oils, it causes inflammation in the arteries, and you get scar tissue in the arteries, and the scar tissue closes the inside diameter of the arteries. Okay, so I have a book. It's called Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Foods. It's 300 pages of safe recipes, safe cooking methods, and the good food, bad food list. So I urge you to get a hold of that book, Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Foods.
I did only have a tiny bit of plaque in one artery.
Well, let me keep going, because if you have a little bit of bullet in your head, if you only have a 22 shot in the head, is that as bad as a 35 or 45 or, okay? You're getting a signal there. You can't ignore that signal.
Okay.
You have a little bit, you only have a little bit of death in you, okay?
Okay, I get it.
So you got better take heed that there's something bad happening there because of your behavior, your eating habits, your cooking habits. You're causing that. It's not genetic. It's not autoimmune. It's not your age. It's something you're doing and something you're not doing that's doing that. So it's up to you to change everything so your body can fix that. But keep doing what you're doing and taking some prescription medication. It's only going to get worse. Because prescription medication rarely fixes anything. Prescription medication almost always only deal with relieving symptoms, which is not in itself a bad thing, but it doesn't get rid of the problem, relieving symptoms, okay?
I agree. I never started taking it because I wanted to know if there's an alternative by exercise or diet instead of the medication.
Okay. Exercise without supplementation is suicide. I'll repeat that. Exercise without supplementation is suicide. The average lifespan of a professional and Olympic athlete in America is 57.6. Why? Because they exercise, but they don't supplement. I exercise. I mean, I can run this and jump that and do this and the other, and they're sweating. Well, you're not just sweating out water, and they rehydrate with very expensive water, okay? But they don't take any vitamins and minerals because they're eating well. They're spending a lot of money on food. They're eating well. Okay, that's why they die at 57.
I see.
Okay, even though they're gold medal winners, they're dying because they're not doing these things correctly. Okay, so
Okay.
it's imperative that your body weight, 150 something pounds, okay, 150,
185.
oh, 185. Okay, so let's go 180. Oh, there it is, 185 pounds. I want you to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. It has 215 nutrients in each one. Take a full dose of breakfast, take a full dose of dinner. I only weigh 142, and I do that twice a day myself, okay, just for prevention. Then I want you also to take 2 bottles a month of our MSM. Take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. They're designed to support and promote maintenance repair, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc, vertebrae, bone race, bone itself, as well as the connective tissue in the lining and walls of the arteries and veins and the valves in the heart. And then you need the collagen peptides. Take a scoop of that with your morning drink, take a scoop of your evening drink. That's also going to help you with all this connective tissue. And then you need the 3 twice a day minimum, wouldn't hurt 3 times a day, but at least 3 twice a day of the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. It's 3 words, Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Take 3 of those 3 times a day. If finances are not an issue, don't go any lower than 3 twice a day of the Ultimate Daily Classic. And they're going to support healthy blood flow through blocked arteries. They're going to support healthy artery function. So if you have high blood pressure, the blood pressure will begin to come down. If you're on blood pressure medication or dialysis, obviously you don't want a cold turkey, okay? But as you get improvement in your blood pressure and blood flow through your arteries, you can slowly reduce the medication and the number of dialysis treatments you get per week based on the numbers, okay? And so we do this thousands of times a year, okay? Actually, in some places, it's a month. And so we have a large experience of this. We have people that hadn't urinated in 10 years. They're getting dialysis 6 days a week. We put them on that program. I would say, give me 90 days. But in 2 weeks' time, they're urinating. So they drop the dialysis after 10 years down to 3 days a week. And then in 2 more weeks, they're urinating normally after 10 years of not urinating at all, just on dialysis 6 days a week. They dropped completely off the dialysis and went back to normal. But you have to stay on this program forever. You can't say, okay, I'm okay now, I can stop taking all this stuff. No. Do you stop putting oil in your car? No, you test that. If it goes low, you keep adding to it. You want everything perfect. People say, well, can I just add dirt from Texas into my car so I don't have to put oil in there and grease and gasoline and antifreeze and all that kind of stuff in the car? No, you have to do all that stuff. You have to check it regularly and make sure it's all right. You have to do the same thing for yourself. And that's why we have all these books and CDs and DVDs. That's why we have all these products. Because again, I'm a pathologist. My thesis is from my first big project, $21 million from NIH, National Institutes of Health. There's a long story for that. We'll get into that another day. But I did 20,000 autopsies. I know more than most physicians, not because I'm smarter than them, but because I see on the autopsy table what happens when the doctors miss the diagnosis or miss the proper treatment. The patient pays the price because they signed a paper saying if he kills me, my family can't sue them. Got it?
Got it. Yeah, I was worried about taking the medication when my blood pressure is normal. It said he could lower it down way too low. I didn't see the common sense in taking something to cover everything up.
Yeah, and so that's what they're taught in school. Give this drug, okay? And
Yes.
so that's smart, but you're responsible for making sure you're checking your blood pressure regularly. Get a physical examination on a regular basis, so you're knowing what's going on. Don't just, okay, I'm just going to take vitamins and minerals and eat well and forget the doctors. No, you still need to do that. And then you have insurance. Your company you're working for pays for your insurance and all that kind of stuff. Use it. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Doc. Keep up the good work.
We look forward to hearing from you. You're gonna have a great story.
Thank you very much, Doc. Take care.
Thank you, Brett. All right. So Dr. Wallach, let's go to one of the questions that we have out on YouTube. And so Raphael in France says, that he wants to know what you think about creatine supplementation for muscles and strength. So he does strength training at the gym 5 times a week, and he does take the 90 and began with creatine recently. So he wants to make sure he's doing the right thing.
Okay, well, creatinine, okay, is a collection of amino acids, okay, and stuff. It's one of those things where it's like putting brake fluid in your car. What about the gasoline? What about the oil? What about the grease? What about the antifreeze? What about the windshield wiper fluid? And on and on and on. And so just to do that and eat French food is bad. Now, let me tell you, the record holder for longevity in the industrialized world is a French woman by the name of Jean Calment. 1997, she died at 122 years, 164 days. But she was eating everything. Okay, when you look at her stories in the magazines, I never talked to her because she was dead by the time I knew her. But read her stories in magazines. I mean, she was eating everything from essentially all over the world. But the one thing that I don't know was, where was she getting her water? Did she live near a mineral spring or something? I guarantee you she was getting minerals from someplace to live 122 years, like the Hunses, 120. So she was getting minerals from someplace. Was it because she lived near a spring and she was using spring water for her garden, or did she still have a wood stove and she's putting the wood ashes in her garden and putting the wood ashes in her food and she's getting minerals that way? But we don't know those details. Well, I'm in the process of working to get those details, because then I'll be able to tell exactly why she lived to be 122 years, 164 days. This is well documented. I mean, there's so many doctors went in there and looked at all the records and everything, and they all just threw up their hands and agreed that in the industrialized world, she has been the longest documented living person. Okay. And so there's a reason for that. And I'll find out what it is. And so who knows, maybe it'll be next week or a month or 6 months, but I'll find it. And then there'll be a great revolution. Just like I knew about the story of the land flowing with milk and honey, but I didn't realize it was quoted and told 21 times in the Old Testament. 21 times that story is told. So there has to be people recognizing this is happening in local places all over the world. And so there's a reason why those people were living to be 900 years and 800 years and 600 years and 250 years and so forth. It wasn't just because they had good genes. They didn't have Wranglers and Lees and stuff like that back then.
Well, Dr. Wallach, what would you recommend for somebody that is wanting to build muscle?
Okay, to build muscle, they need to get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, bran, rye, oats, no sugar, no buckwheat, no carbonated drinks, includes carbonated water. And then they need 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. Full dose twice a day. They need 2 bottles a month of the MSM, so you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. They need 2 of these little canisters of the collagen peptides, so you can take a scoop of that with their morning drink, scoop with their evening drink. I do also want them to have our I-26, 3 doses a day. I do that. I like the chewables, but it comes in powder and capsules also. And when I run out of the chewables, I'll take the capsules or the powder. And it has in it what is required to make myelin, the white matter of the brain, which also goes into your spinal cord. And when you get a deficiency of myelin, the demyelinization stuff goes on, including Alzheimer's disease, FTD, frontal temporal dementia, which is a kind of a new diagnosis, but it's just the same thing. You get MS, multiple sclerosis. You get Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is multiple sclerosis of the spinal cord, and then you get Parkinson's disease, which is MS with tremors. And it just depends on what part of your brain is losing the myelin, the white matter of the brain, faster than the others. And it says right on, it depends on which ones you're using, but it says right on the label of any one of the sources of I-26, okay? The collagen builder. It says right on here, provides 25% of your daily requirement, 25% of your daily requirement of cholesterol. Your brain and spinal cord is 25% cholesterol. Your hormones are 95% cholesterol. Men, eat those 3 eggs twice a day, okay? And take your Zera test. If you're a woman and you're having troubles, or you don't want to have troubles, you take your 3 eggs twice a day and have your Zera Fem. And there's a professor in one of the big schools, Albert Einstein School of Medicine in, Washington, D.C. This woman professor, a pediatrician. she believes that all these gender issues occur before birth. Well, no, they occur before conception, because if the mother doesn't have all the raw materials for the baby to build all the right glands and hormone producing tissues and everything, they get things mixed up. So don't forget the Xerafem for little girls who want to be boys. Don't forget the Xeratest for little boys who want to be girls. Give them those things, give them eggs, give them the 90 essential nutrients. And if you have trouble finding good baby foods, which John Seymour, my attorney, and I, we sued the FDA and federal court to put all these minerals in baby foods, and we succeeded. And we got rid of cystic fibrosis. We got rid of muscular dystrophy. We got rid of muscular dystrophy. We got rid of sediment death syndrome. Doctors are saying sediment death syndrome, mothers are laying on the babies and suffocating them. They get away with that. The mothers are laying on the babies, suffocating them, and the mothers are committing suicide because their families disown them because they believe the doctors that they laid on their babies and killed the baby by laying on their babies. The baby's in the crib and they're sleeping in the bed. How'd that happen? Okay. And so we have all this information that will add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life, increase your quality of life, save an enormous amount of unnecessary misery, saving an enormous amount of money, and you can pass this on to all the people you love. And we'll make sure that you get these products for wholesale. If you get an auto ship, we will pay the shipping for you. How's that, Rebecca?
That sounds great, Dr. Wallach, but creatinine, see, you don't even have to know how to say these words
That's
correct,
just like
folks.
saying I'm
Dr.
waxing
Wallach
my
corrects
car. Is
us.
that enough for my muscles to wax my car?
Well, no, he's taking the 90 and
Oh.
he just added
You
the
didn't say that in the beginning,
creatinine.
that he's taking
I
creatinine.
did. So is that okay, or is what you recommended a better option?
Well, I have to see why the doctor chose that. I want to see what the doctor wrote in the
Well,
records.
no, it's
Why-
an individual just wanting to be empowered himself and making sure he's doing the right thing.
Okay.
So he's coming
Okay.
to you for
I will
recommendations.
give an answer to that question tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much. So Raphael, come join us again tomorrow. So we have a quick little question, Dr. Wallach, in regards to a cat, which I think we need to be bringing back that whole Ask
Ours
Doc
is
Live about your pet
Yeah.
series. The cat needs surgery for urethral disease. What products can be taken? Now, special consideration on this one, Dr. Wallach, because this individual is in Canada and Arthrodex is not available there. So what are some options?
Well, what's possible is they could actually use our Ultimate Daily Classic. They can use our Ultimate Daily Classic.
So Ultimate Daily Classic's not available there either. How about the Tangy Tangerine tablets?
What they need to do is come across the border with their cat, or come across the border and buy some here and take it across and pay whatever fine or fee they have to pay to get it through. You know, if you need an 8-cylinder engine in your car, I can't say use a scooter and use your leg to push the car down the street. Okay,
Fair enough.
I'm telling you what to use. You have to do whatever you have to do to get it.
Okay. All right. Well, we only have a few minutes left. Let's go to the next hand that is up. And Leslie, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you so much, Dr. Wallach, and thank you, Becca. Before I ask my question, I just want to say I just joined your certification program, just completed it, and I'm so excited to be on your
Congratulations.
crusade. Yeah, I'm real excited, and thank you for
Congratulations.
everything you do. We're learning so much. My question is, I went to the dentist. They wanted to replace a crown that I had with another crown. I think he did too much drilling, and I have been in an intense pain, can't handle anything cold ever since. I went back, they put me on antibiotics, and now they want to refer me to a root canal specialist. And I'm just scared to have them have to now drill through the crown to get to the root. And I'm wondering if this could be healed with the nutrients that we're taking.
I don't know the answer to that question, but you can try. Okay. But
there's no infection and I have no cavity.
We only have a moment. You have to let me answer the question because we only have a moment here. I got another show I got to go to. Okay, so it's one of these things where you need to, if you're taking the 90 essential nutrients, whether it's the Healthy Start Pack or the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, you need the MSM. Take 3 of those twice a day. What do you weigh?
140.
Okay, so take 3 of those twice a day. There's 1 bottle a month of the MSM that'll help you rebuild bony things, including teeth and jaw and skull and all that kind of stuff. You need the collagen peptides, and scuba that with your morning drink, scuba that with your evening drink. Okay, and then you have to get a hold of that book. It's all in your head. If you don't have it, it's a book and a CD set. It's all in your head. And then you want to appreciate that you have to stay away from all the bad stuff to maximize absorption of the good stuff. And of course, we have the good food, bad food list. We have the good food, bad food, Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Food book. And I'd go to another, get another opinion from another dentist on the other side of town. Or if you're at the dental school near you, I'd go to a dental school and have them look at it, because they have a little bit of different attitude than does a practicing dentist. But you have to appreciate, let me ask you 2 questions here quickly. How many times you wake up at night to urinate? 1, 3 times, 5 times?
Sometimes once.
Okay. What during the day? Do you urinate every 2 hours during the day?
Yeah,
Okay.
frequently. Yeah.
Frequently. Okay. Do you have any ringing in your ears? Any tinnitus or ringing in your ears?
No.
Okay. Do you have any dizziness?
Yeah, sometimes I get
Balance
dizzy.
problems. Okay. Last question. Do you have anything going on with your throat, swallowing?
I have a thyroid issue.
Okay.
I'm not on prescription. I take your thyroid
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So also, what you need to do here is, in addition to taking what you're taking, you need to, again, stay away from the bad stuff. But the odds are you have osteoporosis of the skull. That's what causes the tinnitus, the ringing, buzzing in the ear, and the balance problems, the dental problems, all because of osteoporosis of the skull. The frequent urination during the day, okay, is caused by osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the spinal cord. Your spinal cord is telling your urinary bladder to urinate. I know you don't have a prostate gland, so it can't be a prostate problem because girls don't have prostate glands, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. And so it's one of those things where you're giving me 5 things that are found with osteoporosis of the skull. It's not aging. Okay. And so the book and the CD, see here, it's all on your head. And so go that direction, and then give us a call every couple of weeks, because you're going to have a great story.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Dr. Wallach, it is time for you to skedaddle. So thank you so much for joining us here. Seems like it goes by so quickly. It's unbelievable how fast time.
Okay, shut off. There you go.
Yep, we've got you, Doc. So thank you again, Dr. Wallach, for joining us. We greatly appreciate that. And if I could get my co-hosts up with me, I could not do this program. I could not do the events that are all scheduled. I mean, they're lining up on the calendar. I'm so excited for the live events where Dr. Wallach is getting back out on the road, where we are reaching people where they're at. But Zoom is incredible because we can reach people around the world in different states, different countries, different hemispheres, all at the same time. So folks, if you are part of this movement that has to do with taking things digital, putting things on podcasts, and you have a podcast and you would like to host Dr. Wallach on that, make sure that you go to dailywithdoc.com and let us know that you have that interest. Use the contact there on the website. That email will come directly to me, and I will get a hold of you, and we will figure out what we can do to help reach your audience about what they can do to be empowered individuals when it comes to nutrition and making sure their body is getting what it has been found to need through decades of research. And it's not just Dr. Wallach's research. Ingredients have been tested time and time again in different levels of studies that are even published in white papers and PubMed and all these different locations where it is proven that nutrition makes a difference. And we invite you to find the difference that it makes within you. But as I was saying, without people like Ruth Ellen Sanchez and Marilyn Pizarro Spear and Sherry Browning and AJ. And I even saw Dan and Yvonne Ray on, who came to the event and helped out. I mean, people, when you are feeding into the lives of others and blessing others, you become blessed as well. And these two people were such a huge blessing to me this weekend, as was Nick and Steve and Coach Rod. I mean, they all like came to my rescue because there's no possible way. Folks, it takes a village, it takes an army. And that's why Dr. Wallach has coined what's happening right now a crusade. This is a 90 for Life crusade to make sure people are hearing the message that they do not have to be slaves or dependent upon chemicals to be able to continue to breathe air. What type of quality of life is that, where you're just masking symptoms and having to add more and more pharmaceuticals to counteract the additional negative effects from one pharmaceutical? So share this program with somebody you know, especially those that you love. It's easy. The replays are on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble. We also get them loaded up onto our website, dailywithdoc.com, which this program is sponsored by dailywithdoc.com. But if you were invited to this program by somebody specific, that's your person. That's the person that you need to get back with and say, hey, I want more information about what I can do to be empowered for my own self. Or, hey, better yet, join us on this crusade. Be part of the solution and become an independent longevity distributor as well, and make a difference in your own community. So again, get back with the person that invited you to this program. If there is no one to thank, make sure that you go to our website, dailywithdoc.com, or we even have a phone team standing by for those who have never spoken to anybody about longevity and have not tried the longevity products. Feel free to call our number, 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. We will see you again tomorrow. If we did not get to your questions, please go to our website and use that contact option. Again, that's dailywithdoc.com. Contact and an email will come to me. We are going through these, and as I'm sharing there with my certified holistic health coaches, we then take what Dr. Wallach recommends for you, or for people who have had experiences or experiencing things like you are. And if we don't have the answers, we make sure that we get them from Dr. Wallach, as that is the person. He's the one with the degree. He's the one that has doctor before his name, and he can make the recommendations, and we just share the message. So until next time, did I forget anything, Ruth Ellen? Up, down, side,
I don't
side.
think so. You gave a shout out to AJ in YouTube land.
Yes,
Everybody.
I thank you, AJ.
Um,
So yeah, thank you for joining us here on Daily with Doc. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.